Nice, nice. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the MBAA Podcast. What up? What up?
Man, I
All
need a
right.
haircut.
I got one like a week ago. So I was like, that's kind of recent for me. But yeah, yeah, they didn't really do this. It was nice. It was a
That
good haircut.
way,
You gotta admit.
you got that fancy hat to cover it, anyways.
Oh yeah. I didn't really. Yeah. I thought it was like I kind of looked like Peaky Blinders, yeah, like that guy. And that's what I thought. She like kind of made me look like. I don't know his name. What's that guy? You watch that show, Peaky Blinders?
I've seen clips. I don't do a whole lot of TV.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
I
if I'm not working on something, I feel I don't know. It feels I'm one of those people where even if I'm supposed to be relaxing, it doesn't feel right. I got to be finding something to do.
oh oh like okay, kind of like keep yourself busy or
Like I got
something.
to feel like I'm being productive, like 24/7.
Hmm, weird.
Yeah, it's probably I don't know. It's probably something that I learned along the way at some point, but
Was it like the Protestant work ethic or something?
no, God, not this
No,
family.
this thing.
No, it's just I don't know. It's part of my personality, I guess, where it's just it feels like if I have time to relax, I have time to be working on something, a project of some kind. So I end
Yeah,
up doing it.
I have a like my friends who have that from up north. They're like they're like Yanks, and
Oh
they
yeah,
always say it's just it's the Protestant work ethic. I always gotta feel like productive, like I'm doing something. That's
yeah,
what they chalk it to. So,
it's brutal, but it gets worse when you're working from home and everything feels like you're getting to relax a little bit. You're like, I gotta pick up another thing.
really? Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, do you feel less productive working
Well,
from
like,
home, or is that?
well, no, like I don't think I mean, so I went from working in public libraries to working from home, and so I don't feel like productivity wise, it doesn't feel like it's changed that so much as when I was working in public libraries. If I had downtime, I was working on something uh, constantly for the libraries. It was kind of one of those where we always had to justify the budget for the year, so we were always trying to figure something out. So then I can start working from home, and I don't have to deal with that. It feels like I get well, my office is part of my routine. I'm in here 12 hours a day, so uh, if I'm sitting here, it's like okay, I don't have anything to work on right now. I'll pick up a new project. So like I started turning some of my photos and digital art into stickers and putting them up on a store and like just another thing to work on.
Yeah, yeah. Some kind of hustle, right?
That's that hustle
can't
culture.
can't knock the hustle, man. The hustle culture.
Gotta stay
That's
on the
like
grind.
the grind, the grind. That's something else. I don't know. I have my own opinions on that. It's like
It's
sounds like
not.
it's
It's not
gonna.
even so much that like I need to or want to or whatever. It's just it feels like something else to do, so I just do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's habit, force of habit, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, it's probably mostly the public library stuff. I was working in public libraries while getting my undergrad, and then so I was like, I mean, it was schoolwork and work and government stuff and all that. So now with everything being right here next to me, I'm like, yeah, I'll pick up and do another thing. Maybe I'll find a hobby.
I heard some people like don't feel as productive when they're like just at home. You know, like it's like a
Yeah, I
thing.
kind of felt like that at first because it kind of felt like I was rewarding myself for not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like I got to roll out of instead of having to like get up and actually get ready for work. Now I just roll out of bed, make sure I've got like a t-shirt on and a cup of coffee like 10 minutes before I need to do anything.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I get that though. Like it definitely is. It's kind of like online schooling. It's not for everybody. Like I
It
couldn't
really
go
isn't.
back to standard education if I wanted to. I have to be
You
able to do it all self-paced essentially.
you couldn't, or you could.
I couldn't. Once because I had started moving so much during my undergrad years up and down the Eastern Seaboard. It got to the point
Mhm.
where I had to find like an online course and I need to stick to an online system just because I couldn't stop transferring from colleges because I was moving everywhere.
Mm,
So I found one
yeah.
that had an online program that way I could do it from anywhere and much more my speed. There's something about going in and getting onto campus and making sure I was everywhere at the right times and everything is just too much when I was
How do
trying
you
to
like
work too.
how do you like the Eastern Seaboard? Or is that where you like mostly just grew up, or kind of like lived most
Yeah,
of your life?
yeah. I mean, I've spent time everywhere from Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Massachusetts. Spent a little bit in Kentucky. Uh, no,
Mhm.
it's not bad. I mean, honestly, I I don't think I've ever been outside of Texas. I don't think I've ever been west of the Mississippi. So it's all about the same.
Oh, really? I don't know. I mostly like just grew up in. I mean, I kind of like traveled, like went on road trips with like family, like um from deep South Texas all the way up to Canada when I was like younger. But um I never like actually like lived in those places, but I just kind of like visited and kind of saw it. And it's I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, I still I haven't seen anything outside of Texas, west of the Mississippi. I haven't. I got my undergrad from Oregon State. Never stepped foot in the state. So
Gotcha. That's hilarious.
I'm comfortable here. Everything's here. All of my family are either in Tennessee or Kentucky, and so uh,
Yeah.
just
Is it
nothing's
that?
drawing me out of it.
Yeah. Is it that wildly different, like the South from like Texas? Is it like
Not really.
really?
Not really. Nah. Uh, Generally, because I've lived in kind of the same areas in relation to major cities in every state I've lived in. I've lived, 20 miles south of Nashville, 20 miles south of it, or well, 20 miles south of Atlanta and north of Atlanta, 20 miles south of
Mhm.
Boston. Uh, and they all have kind of the same feel. The only difference is the accents. Everything else is about the same. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
there was a redneck bar up there near Boston that if you could pick it up and place it in BFE Tennessee, East Tennessee, it wouldn't be out of place. It would match. So
That's interesting. Red
there's really not
wow.
as much of a difference as you would think.
They still have that the drawl, like the southern, like
Yeah,
up there in
they
Boston.
they had.
Michigan.
I mean, I honestly thought it must have like the owner must have been from like Tennessee or something. And when I heard him talk, it was 100% South Boston, and I guess redneck was just his aesthetic. I don't know.
I, I wonder if that's a thing. Like they feel like is
I,
that like a thing like up north where it's like all the southerners like gather like in one place, like they, you know what I mean, they had their little
you know,
enclave, their
they
little
probably do, honestly. But I will say that there is that little bit of a difference in the north. People are a little bit more, there's that stereotype of like Northeasterners are rude or whatever. Um,
yeah,
they're not
they're
rude.
blunt
They're just they're
up
more
front.
blunt and they're definitely less uh, openly friendly. Like in Tennessee, if you hadn't met your neighbor but you needed something, you could go to your neighbor, you'd get it from him. In Boston, you don't do that. But
Yeah.
or at least you don't. It doesn't feel like you would do that, but in actuality, it's the same. It's a little bit more off-putting trying to in the north than it would be down here. They're a little bit more, yeah, blunt,
Yeah.
straightforward. The Tennesseans, they got their the "bless your heart" saying. I
Bless
think they
your
do
heart.
that.
Bless
That's
your
an
heart.
insult and a good thing both ways.
Yeah. I I started hearing about that when I was like living up in Dallas. The whole bless your heart, like
Yep.
I don't know. It's funny. Yeah.
Man. So classes are all done now officially, right?
For the online people, yeah, I think the traditional people still got their finals up until the end of this week, but and they have graduation commencement and whatnot. But for the AOP people, yeah, ours ended on Tuesday. So
yeah, I actually had to take one of my classes set up the final for Wednesday. It was due on Wednesday.
what was your final? What class was it?
Was it? I think it might have been my finance course. Yeah, it was finance 6303 set up on for Wednesday finish. The final was more.
Who was your teacher for that one?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't remember. I didn't communicate with him like at all. It was always all the communication really dealt with the teacher's assistant.
Yeah. I think I took that
Jackson,
one.
I think is who
Jackson. Jackson. Huh. I took mine with an Egyptian guy for that one, El Nahas. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was Dave Jackson who I had.
Dave Jackson. Yeah.
It wasn't a bad class.
Do you know
I'd probably.
What's up? Do you know what race or what ethnicity he was? Like
I think he's African American.
Yeah, that's what I can either go yeah, either white or black. Like I don't know which
I think he's black. I'd have to double check, but
damn.
I never went. I probably shouldn't have that on record. I never went to any of the Zoom meetings to cover anything that he had, just in case he needed to. I never did.
You never had videos? You didn't have like videos or anything like that?
I don't think so. I think it was literally you showed up and he did it, and if you were there, you got some little extra information. If you didn't, you didn't. Which was fine. I ended up not needing it. I mean, I got a 93, so. But it wasn't a bad class. It got a little confusing because my other course, they both had practice tests, except for in one course, the practice test was a practice test. You didn't have to take it. And then this one, it was listed as a practice test, but it was a required test. So I mixed up one week and forgot to do one.
Got a little confused.
Yeah. I don't know why you'd call it a practice test if it's essentially that week's quiz.
Huh.
I think. Hold on.
You take one class or two classes this semester, or this?
I try to take two.
You try to take two, but
I try to take two every module. Yeah. So far the only full semester I haven't taken two each module this summer, and that's just because I didn't have any financial coverage for it, so I just didn't take any courses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was just wondering how your module and how your semester went. What do you think so far? Like just looking back.
I'd say Jackson's good. I'd probably take another course of his. If he's teaching another required course that I have left, I wouldn't shy away from taking it. Really wasn't that much work. The most complicated part was definitely the practice tests. There was a lot of really intensive calculations, a lot of use this formula to calculate this, use that formula to calculate. Then you've got to combine those two. And so the final exam was 3 hours long. It took me just over 2 hours to do it. There was only 7 questions. So
yeah, I remember taking that class like last fall, and I do remember all those what do you call it, the equations and stuff like that.
It was fascinating, but
yeah. I think I took Mao with you, Marcy, right? Marcy Mao, like Econ 6350, like last module.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Did you ever get back to you? Or I think you were talking
She
about like,
did.
yeah.
Right before I went on my honeymoon, she emailed me back. We've communicated since then.
Yeah.
But the guy at the Chamber of Commerce, I'm still waiting on.
Interesting.
Uh,
McAllen Chamber of Commerce?
yep.
Uh,
Should be.
What was your
actually could be state, to be honest with you.
what was your project about? Ours was just like a banana bread business. I don't know.
What was our project? Oh, it was a. Is that the course that you had to pick a
marketing executive proposal, an MEP. Yeah. And you had to like like a group project, and it was like a business plan.
That wasn't the one that was for that was the one that was for one of the specific businesses, right? Like RGV Aerial or
that one. That's the one.
Yeah, we did RGV Aerial.
Oh yeah. That was so funny. I was like, I didn't even have any. I remember sitting in one of the Zoom like meetings with RGV Aerial. It was RGV Aerial, and it was like some other one like Remember Me or something. It was like these other businesses, and I wasn't even like in like we weren't even I wasn't even doing like any of those for any of those businesses, and I was just like in there just hanging out, just listening and stuff, just checking it out, because I was like, I had some free time, go check it out. Why not? And I was like, I ended up like the only one like asking like the most questions. Like asking
well, the funniest part about that whole Zoom thing was the questions that were asked. Or there were a couple of questions that I would have asked, but they were asked. And I was like, okay, that kind of covers what I needed. But some of the questions that were asked were kind of funny, just because it's like, I mean, we don't need all that information on some of this,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything too intensive. That said, Marcy did say that she would follow up and let me know who wins, or if any of our groups win the assistance or whatever.
Yeah, I was asking like all these like intense questions, like who's your ideal customer, what's your budget like, blah blah blah, what's your marketing plan.
Yeah, no,
do you have any
I appreciate a lot of the questions. Yeah, I mean, some of those questions need to be asked of both of them, because
it's like, describe your customer.
Well, yeah, but that's something that I can't remember her name. The RGV Aerial lady was the one I focused on the most, just because that's what our business project was on.
What did you think of that, though? I mean, I don't know.
I find it fascinating. I think it is an alternate thing I've never heard of, and I never.
You think it's a good concept? You think there's like a DC like I guess like not profitability, but do you see it becoming like a viable business? Like, do you see it like?
I could see,
like,
because the area is a college area, because there is a campus, the UTRGV campuses.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it being
not
successful.
It's not nearby though. It's not near the campus. Like the area where it's at. I know, because I dropped by there at the.
Oh, did you?
No, I know where it is. It's maybe it's like 30 minutes away from
UTRGV campus. Where I've gone to campuses, I've always been roughly 30 minutes away. So that I still consider that kind of in the same area. Like when I went to. Yeah, when I lived in Tennessee, I lived on the other side of town of my campus, and so anything that was in that range essentially was nearby. So I mean, I'd still say, because it would be a college town. Any non-campus livers.
I
don't know. I just the youth there and everything would be passing through just feels like it would be more appealing to the younger. But I've never been down there, so I have no idea if yoga even is a good thing down there.
My in-law, my sister-in-law was a yoga instructor. Like, so she went into the yoga business for a little bit. And um what she my understanding, or like how she explains, is that it's very clicky. The
Yeah,
business. Yeah. It's
I could
like,
see that.
yeah, like everybody follows like a certain instructor or something, and it's all like word of mouth and whatever, and it's very like something like
Yeah,
that, very clicky.
I could see that. I could also see the issue arising of like the end people, the people with connections, the instructors that are willing to or can or have the desire to do all of that type of things in a gym that already exists, which is going to drive business into that gym. So they're going to be open to it. I can see that becoming a problem for RDB Aerial, especially because they are looking at opening their own individual studio. May not be the best way to go about it, just because if you're already in a pre-existing gym, you already have a built-in client base that you can tailor towards, and you're going to
That's
have more
true.
incentive. The gym itself is going to have more incentive to keep you occupying their spaces and using their spaces if you're bringing in clientele as well. So
That's a
you're
good
kind of
point,
in a
because they that's a really good point. Like, instead of being separate, they could offer their services as part of like a gym, like, so it's like pre-existing, and they also add value to the gym membership, because it's like something, that the members are also getting like for free on top of what they're already paying for, because some people, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
and even if you didn't include it
Yeah.
as a perk of the gym membership itself, if a gym member wants to
Yeah.
utilize 3 classes, you can still give them the same type of
True.
contract
True.
you would have anyways. And since she was explaining that she has to get specialized equipment anyways that the gym typically would. I mean, since you're already providing equipment, I don't know. It feels like that would have been it might be the best way to do it, especially in an area that I'm not familiar with, I would say.
No, like, I mean, speaking of like their ideal customer, like a lot of her, like what she would be looking for, like her ideal, like the gym health conscious like type of
Mhm.
person, um and of course, like in that space, like people are always looking for some, I guess always looking, but it's like something like different from the usual,
Mhm.
like lift weights and you know
Yeah.
especially like the, I guess like women or something, that are looking for like some kind of new workout, right? Like it's
Mhm.
whether it's yoga or Pilates or something, you know
Yeah,
what I mean, like CrossFit or some kind
yeah,
of, there's always like some
that fad.
new fad, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like maybe like that aerial workout could kind of like, it could be in like, that's kind of like in that context, I could kind of see it
Yeah.
being like somewhat like successful or in demand, but on its
Yeah.
own, like where it's at, like no,
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
why I'm a
mm,
little worried for her that they are looking to do a brick and mortar store of their own rather than continue to partner with a gym, just because
yeah.
CrossFit. There are several CrossFit gyms in this area. They're all uh, sectioned as a part of another type of gym. Essentially, like you have your CrossFit gym, but it's a part of like the rock climbing facility, or there's the CrossFit gym that's a part of like the
But
Planet
it's not
Fitness.
standalone. It's not like
Yeah, but it's never
standalone.
standalone. And
Yeah.
so, it's obviously it's
Did
working. It draws in, but I
did
don't
it
see
did
too
it
many.
start off? Did the CrossFit thing start off like you guys had a lot of standalone gyms, and then it just kind of consolidated that way, or?
I want to say there's occasionally you'll see like a CrossFit. That's what they're specialized in is CrossFit
Uh-huh.
as a gym in this
Yeah.
area. Um, but the ones that seem to last the longest are the ones that partner with an existing
Yeah.
uh, athletic facility of some kind. The rock climbing facility over near the college campus. I mean, they got a CrossFit thing. They got the rock climbing. I think there's a Top Golf like right by. So like if you're into any of that, they're in the prime position for that. But I don't see, especially in the area that I live in, is a lot more older. I happen to be in an area where the general population tends to be a little bit richer than the rest of the population of the county. Not
like
to
zip code
say that I don't have
no.
But they
zip
tend to be
code,
older. Yeah, the zip code is older, richer. They're not doing
retirees,
so
like golf courses. You got like a lot of golf courses and stuff.
Yeah, I got two that sit like right on top of each other, down the road. Yeah. But
retirees, right?
That's why I would be worried. What's up?
Like retirees, kind of. Like retirees, like that, like the retirees, like in the rich, like that.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was totally interpreting that as something totally. Yeah, definitely. There's a section of the neighborhood that I'm actually in. That's basically dedicated to like 55 and up active.
Like a little Florida retirement community.
Like the rich,
is that really
55 and up? Yeah.
They've
got their own. I didn't even know they had their own private pool. They have their own private pool section. Like my neighborhood has a public pool. They have their own that's totally disconnected from everything.
I don't know if you've ever I'm sure you've gone like apartment hunting like a lot, but have you ever noticed how like the cheapest and nicest places, like with like all the sweet amenities, are like these like retirement it's like 65 plus
there's actually an area right down the road from me that I'm like, man, that's perfect for what it's just me, my wife, and our two cats. Like just 2 bed, this is but it's like 60 and up only. They've got like tennis courts and like picket ball and all this stuff, and it's like 60
and it's like the sweetest the best locations, and it's like it's like super nice, and everything's like, and it's like the price is like super good, super low.
It's an excellent location, but it sits on an area where like the prices are low. So
yeah. No, but I mean like relatively speaking, like compared to I don't know, like I guess like those 65 plus communities, like they get like, maybe that's how they have so much money, because like their rents are like compared to like
I have no idea.
That could be why. That's why like every
right nearby.
Yeah, and all these yuppies are struggling.
That, retirement community, man. Oh, for sure. They've got it's like brand new apartment facility right nearby. That's not 60 and up. It's like, for here, it's expensive. It's like $1,400 for like a studio.
Yeah,
and it's like right next to them is a significantly better place. It's like 60 and up though, but it's like $700 and you get it.
Exactly. And that's like, let's see, 700. That's like $500 a month in their pocket. Like just they can
like
spend
free on internet. You got like continental breakfast provided to you and everything.
Right. Like my goodness. And then we wonder why all the yuppies are like struggling. Struggling to save up and buy a house or whatever. It's like super funny. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's
my poor Jetta, man. Let my Jetta wear thin just so I can save a couple bucks.
Yeah. Same. I gotta get my car, like I got like little power steering leak that I gotta get fixed. And cost. I know it's gonna be a pain, but whatever.
Man, if you could jerry rig it a little bit, if you could access where that leak is and you could just tape it up, you would save so much money.
I looked on YouTube. I looked around. I definitely had YouTube this to kind of check and see like what I'm like, oh no, this is way outside my like that amount of work is
See, the Jetta is a pain in the butt to work on. I can only replace certain things myself. The rest of it, like in order to change the light bulb, I have to take off the entire front end essentially to get to it.
Eesh.
So
those European cars, right? With
damn Germans, man. It's a good car, but they need to learn how to make them.
Is it a diesel? Diesel?
No,
No.
not diesel.
Yeah.
Well, it might be one of those. I know for a while there, it may have been Jetta. But they had a model of car that it was supposed to run on regular, but if you had it cleaned out real well and you put diesel in it, it'd run smooth.
Oh wow.
Obviously, I didn't do that. I mean, it's probably got oil in there still from. It probably ain't even fully cleaned out. I mean, I've had to clean my catalytic converter myself just so I can save a couple of dollars.
Yeah,
it's brutal. I need to turn 60 years old, man, and get into one of these retirement.
Yeah, that's or what you can do is like get it under like like one of your parents' names, and then like just so you can get in there, and then you just.
I ain't got no kids. It's cool. Y'all never know.
Yeah, it's like a real issue. Like it's like a real thing. Is the whole housing crisis or whatever? Like especially for like college age like people. Like it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I mean, not that I'm cheering for any sort of economic downturns or nothing, but I will say them prices are starting to turn around a little bit in this area. So.
Oh, yeah, I've been seeing like the news of like, I guess these like Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess everybody had the same idea. They were all cash rich, and they started like jacking up all the prices for the houses, because it was like that's what everybody was doing, was getting like these extra houses during a housing crisis, right? They got like everybody was getting like a second house, and they would, instead of living in it, they would just turn into like Airbnbs to put to sell or to rent for short-term rentals, and that's starting to backfire on a lot of them, because it's like I guess what everybody wants to be a landlord now. Everybody wants to be an Airbnb.
Yeah, the issue, like, man, them Airbnbs. We got lucky. We got a cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains for the honeymoon, and it was through Airbnb. There were none of those extra fees. It was literally just like cleaning fee and then your payment for the week. But I can see why they're able to do it, because they own like that entire section of the little mountain that we were sitting on, and so they had like 3 or 4 cabins that they owned. Up and down the mountain. But the issue that I've noticed is a lot of these people, because they were buying up houses, cash offers, unseen, like highest, I offered X amount of cash, gone. Now they're, in order to cover that cost, they have to charge so much more per night on their Airbnbs, and then they're adding those additional fees under it to try to keep up with mortgage and everything. That you're just like,
it's
dumb. The land's worth and the bills, and
it's getting to the point where it's like you might as well stay at a hotel, like where hotels actually have
don't have to cook my own breakfast at a hotel.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You go to the right one. Provided for you.
Yeah, basically, that's what I've heard, is that the quality of the Airbnb has like gone down like quite a bit. A lot of people got into it. It's just, people thought it was just gonna be like easy passive income type stuff, and there was like, oh yeah, I don't have to do anything, and I'll just make the guests clean everything. I'll do the laundry and clean everything for me.
I just, you're not wrong either, man. It's literally right? I'll just make the guests do all the work, and then I'll turn around and it's like,
I don't make them pay for it.
Are you kidding me? There are taxes that you have to pay. You've got your, because of the Airbnb, I believe themselves developed a COVID-free policy. And so like there has to be like a specific kind of cleaning that's done between, and like when you have to pay for all that, you gotta jack the prices up. Nobody wants to rent it from you, and now you're out. Now you're sitting on 4 houses that you can't afford.
Yeah, that are just kind of like they're not really making income or anything. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe they're gonna have to like go down on the price if they want like I mean, that's just competition, right? That's the nature of business. Is that like, I guess it was
Yeah,
profitable
yeah,
before,
and
now the market's like oversaturated and
well, it was
there's like
probably
a
incredibly
ton.
profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know, man. I'm expecting like those
it was,
Airbnb rates to go down, like or we'll see what those people decide to
I'm
do with
hoping
it. Maybe
so.
they'll
I'd like to make another trip up to the mountains.
yeah. Maybe they'll go down on those
I
prices
don't know.
or they'll lower rents. Maybe. I don't know.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully.
65 plus.
They got it so good, man. Medicaid and
how,
$700 rent, man.
how are they doing that though? Like is that do they get like special government like assistance or something like to make up for the
I don't
shortfall,
know,
or
but I wouldn't doubt at all that because they're designated senior living, they get some sort of stipend or
some kind of
government
subsidy?
loan. Yeah,
Kind of like a Section 8 type thing,
Yeah, I bet.
Maybe, right? I
It's
wonder.
not something I've looked into or seen at all, but
I'll call up Biden and be like, hey, we need something like that for like college students.
right? Yeah. Yeah, you gotta help them 20 to 30s, man.
Huh?
So you gotta help them 20 to 30s, man. Them 60s and ups are always good.
Some kind of inflation reduction.
Oh man,
something, whatever.
Give me something. Put me up.
Yeah, for sure.
Nationalize the weed trade or something. I don't know. Do something for me, man.
Oh man, what's so annoying is like I don't know, what was it like he was like cancel student death or whatever, and then like I can't believe the Republicans killed that. I'm like, really, guys? Like, really? Like
if you wanted to win,
wow.
if you wanted to win for the midterms, that was the perfect time for you to actually back that and be like, look what we did, and you roll in through midterms.
Yeah. I think they just lost the youth vote right there. I'm like, all the college is like,
yeah. As soon as they said they were going to fight that, I was like, you just lost several seats.
Yeah.
I find the politics section kind of fascinating just because I like the strategy and the planning aspect, and that is one that somebody 100% whiffed on.
Yeah. I heard a lot of governors lost their seats too because of the whole abortion thing. Like that really pushed a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Some of the like a lot of the stricter areas definitely saw seats change.
Yeah.
With all of that, I don't think they expected that to be such a strong indicator of the seat, but it ended up being pretty important.
For sure. It was like,
it was an interesting midterm.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you can't push too hard on certain things, otherwise, like, even if it's like politically unpopular, like,
especially when the things that you're pushing back on are things that most polls are indicating are favored in the majority.
Yeah.
If you're appealing to what is the minority in polls on that section, you're not aiming for the big vote numbers. That's a problem. You're not going to win doing that.
Yeah, you're gonna need those votes, but
which is why I was surprised that both of those things happened so close to the midterms. I expected them to at least find a way to, kick the can down the road after midterms or find a quote unquote compromise to cover it.
Yeah,
it's a little shocking for just a outright,
Right. I mean, Texas, I feel like it's too red. They could afford to lose a few votes here and there, and it's like it's not really going to make that much difference.
Texas got pretty, a little closer than I thought it was going to be. They're a little closer to the purple than I thought it was going to end up.
Well, no, I mean, but maybe it started to shift a little bit, but the states that were I think purple,
Texas is going to be in a position soon, just based on trends that Georgia ended up in, and that's Georgia's flipped blue now, and that's because the major population centers are typically heavily blue in Georgia. I'm a lot of the hot button issues. Texas is starting to get some pretty big hubs in there that are pretty blue, so I can see them reaching a situation where they're going to have to start kind of
urban areas. Yeah,
they're going to have to mitigate some of these strong stances a little bit on certain topics just to maintain the full control. Otherwise, they're going to end up having to find a balance that Georgia is currently.
Yeah, that's the name of the game in politics, right? Just you got to compromise here and there. Compromise.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Georgia was a win for the conservative side because Kemp managed to keep governorship. I think a lot of people expected him to lose it, and he didn't, even though a lot of the seats turned to the Democratic side.
You guys still got a lot of like Confederate type.
Oh man, there's a bar down the street that's like, if you're not Confederate, don't enter. So I'm like, yeah, we got those. Got the proud rebel flag flying in the back. We still got those.
Well, I mean, you've lived in Texas, and you've lived also. Yep. Like, do you think it's like who do you think is more like Confederate-ish, or
I don't know, man. Them Georgia Confederates go deep.
Yeah. Oh, what happened here? Cut off. What's going on? Man. Well, there goes the podcast. Hello? You there? Oh. Yeesh. Yeah, so Matt says his PC just died on him. So I guess that's that. But yeah. I mean, that was a good conversation. But I guess this podcast is over. But yeah, thanks Matt for coming, and thanks for everybody who came by or who listened, and we need to continue this conversation another time. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.